everyone. My name is Alissa Griffith, and I am the president of the Western Chester County Chamber of Commerce. First, I would like to thank Logan Hall from the Penn State Extension for facilitating this program this evening. I would also like to thank the Wright Agency and Farm Credit for sponsoring this event. Normally every year we have an ag event at the 4-H facility in Honeybrook. Of course, this year has brought new challenges, so it gives us an opportunity to kind of shake things up a little bit and have this panel discussion. We all know that agriculture is the #1 industry in Chester County. And now more than ever, I think we are all encouraged to shop local, eat local, and stay local. So we certainly want to support and be aware of the challenges that our local farmers are experiencing. So other than that, thank you everyone for joining us. I believe we have joining us tonight, Josh Maxwell, who is a Chester County Commissioner, and Curtis Miller from U.S. Representative Chrissy Houlihan's office. So thank you for joining us also. Now I would like to introduce Stephanie Shirk from the Penn State Extension.
Hi everyone, great to see you all, and thanks for the opportunity to chat with you a little bit about Chester County's agriculture and food industry at this time. As you all know, we're going through unprecedented times, and that has required Penn State Extension to adapt many of our offerings and programs. We're used to meeting people where they're at, offering workshops, letting them come to us, or going on the farm. We are still offering farm visits, research updates, continuing with all that, but we have adapted to offer our programs virtually as our offices are closed to the public for the safety of those and to adhere to our government guidelines. I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to the volunteers from our 4-H program who have decided to independently offer our 4-H members an opportunity to still show their animals and then auction them off as well next week. So if you would happen to be interested in that, please let me know. We can get you more information, but it's through the dedication of those volunteers that we've still been able to offer that opportunity for those 4-H members if they're so interested. Penn State Extension has moved to a virtual format throughout the spring months. It's been phenomenal to see the engagement that we've had. While we've offered offerings in person throughout the years, it's been just outstanding with the reception from people who want to learn more and learn the scientific ways with research-backed information for best practices. From Chester County alone, in the month of May, we had over 2,000 people engage in webinars for best practices. For our online course offering during the COVID shutdown, we've had over 125,000 registrants, which is just phenomenal. That's, you know, people making the best of a tough situation, that they want to learn more, they want to still engage, they want to learn. So we've been very fortunate for that, whether it's been our Victory Garden Reinvented series, our COVID-19 Farmers Market series for best practices, the food processors and food supply chain and what we've needed to do to adapt and make those changes. It's just, while it's been hard times, it's been refreshing to see how our local communities have really stepped up and been involved and engaged to make the best of a hard situation. So thank you all for this opportunity to talk with you and share more with you. And Alissa, I'll let you and the panelists have it from here.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie, very much. At this time, I would like to introduce our panel for this evening. First, we have Don Cairns from Cairns Family Farm. Hi, Don.
Hello, everybody. It's an honor to be here with you, and I look forward to sharing a little bit. My name is Don Cairns, and my wife and I own and operate Cairns Family Farm. We are a grain farming operation, so we farm about 1,600 acres all over Chester County. We grow corn, wheat, and soybeans. And virtually all of that stays in the local market. The corn and soybeans go into the livestock feed market, and the wheat that we grow goes into the local bakery market. So when you eat bread or pretzels or whatever that's produced locally, chances are you're eating our products that we grow. So what we do, we're very big on land stewardship, and so we use no-till and cover cropping and technology to do the best job we can and be good stewards of the environment. That's a little bit about our farm. I'll talk specifically about COVID-19. And before we get into that, I want to make sure everybody understands that prior to COVID hitting us, the grain markets have been in a prolonged slump. For the past 5 years, the grain markets have been pretty dismal. And we've been lucky to achieve the cost of production when we go to sell our products. And so, and that goes like with soybeans, for example. A couple of years ago, we had the trade disputes with China. Price of soybeans went down, and it's been down ever since. So when COVID hit, things got even more difficult. So, for example, the corn market, you wouldn't think that corn would take a slump because of coronavirus, but when you think about it, a good bit of the corn crop in the United States goes into the ethanol business. And when crude oil and gasoline took a hit, ethanol followed that down, and then that hit the price of corn. So that affects every farmer. Even though I'm selling my corn locally, my corn doesn't go into ethanol. It's a national market based on the Chicago Board of Trade. So yeah, we basically had a slump, and now it's even more challenging. Now USDA has been handing out some relief money as part of the CFAP program, but really from a production standpoint and farmers staying afloat, my opinion is the best thing that can happen is for consumer demand to come back and exports to come back so that the market itself can become profitable once again. A brief example, before COVID hit, on the Chicago Board of Trade, corn was about $3.75 a bushel, which is arguably break even, okay? Today it's $3.15. So we're way below the cost of production when we go to sell corn today. So with that, I look forward to hearing from the other panelists, and I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Don. Next, we have Deb Ellis from Highspire Hills Farm.
Hi, everybody. My husband and I own Highspire Hills Farm. We have about 2,600 chickens, layer hens. They are fed organically. And we have 2 7-ton bins out behind our chicken house. And we get 14 tons approximately every 6 weeks. So the chickens keep eating and they keep laying eggs. They don't stop laying eggs. We have to order chickens a year out. So we ordered 2 flocks of chickens last year. And coincidentally, the first flock came in February of 1,300, and the second flock came April 8th, which coincided with the shutdown. So what we had was a situation where we had a lot of eggs, and unfortunately our restaurants, we have 18 restaurants that we supply eggs to, and unfortunately that kind of dropped and we had a significant amount of eggs. So I did a Facebook post, sent it out, and we had probably for 2 or 3 weeks, probably 40 to 50 people a day, which was unbelievable. And so we met a lot of people that said, oh, I love local, we're gonna support you, and we'll do everything we can to keep it local. And in the last month or so, we've maybe had 4 people a day. So it's really kind of dropped off. Thank goodness for restaurants like Eric at Suburban, who has been one of our faithful customers for many years. And Kimberton Whole Foods has taken a considerable amount. They've been very good to us. We also supply to Crops and to Shady Maple. During that egg shortage, as you know, when a lot of people were coming here, we were getting calls from New York City to bring tractor trailer loads of eggs in New York City, which we couldn't do. And I was getting calls from central Pennsylvania. I was getting calls from all over the state. Would you please bring us eggs? Because nobody had eggs. And so we were one of the few people that did have eggs. So we were fortunate that way. I think probably with what we learned with people coming all the time, we have asked people to wear masks. I'd say 98% of the people are compliant. If they're not going to wear a mask, then we just put the eggs in the car for them. And I've gotten some pushback about masks, but not a whole lot. And it's not something I'm going to argue about. And some pushback about why our doors are locked all the time. Well, we've kind of opened ourselves up to everybody. We don't know who's coming. And Dwayne or myself, one of us goes out every time. So we know who the people are. We get to meet them. We've had some regular customers from that initial rush, but typically what we do, we're very local. I do a 60-mile round trip when I deliver to all my restaurants. It takes me about 3 hours. And we do that on different days, but we are truly local. And we've been here for about 20 years doing the same thing. And people have discovered us and we've got regular customers, but it's kind of disappointing that that whole rush of people just kind of disappeared. And also I've had to remind people, I've got ducks and geese and all kinds of animals all over the place. And people come flying in the driveway. I have to remind them that this is our home and to be respectful of that. But, you know, we're still feeding our animals. Hens are all organically fed. And, you know, we try to do the best that we can to give them the best care possible. And just hoping that our restaurants can open back up again. We've been with a lot of these people for a long time, and our heart hurts for them when we see what's happening to them as well. So that's it.
Oh, thank you, Deb, for that update. Next, we have Thomas Matthews from Milky Way Farms.
Great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Thomas, and my family farm the sixth generation dairy farm in Downingtown, Lineville, Chester Springs area. And we have 35 cows milking off of about 100 acres. Our business is really, the dairy is a side business, I would say. Our primary business is ice cream, school tours, and pumpkins, so kind of an agritourism. And trying not to be too pessimistic, but we were fairly pessimistic early this spring because we rely heavily on school tours, and there were, of course, no school tours this spring. And we were able to get some federal money, which was able to help us, keep things going. At our creamery, which is Chester Springs Creamery, we opened for select hours on kind of a Friday or Saturday night and did a quart sale only instead of, normally like milkshakes, ice cream, that kind of, cones and cups. We just did quarts, and we did a pre-order. And I guess what I would say is this COVID event has given us a license to try things we would have never tried before. So for example, one of the things we tried was virtual tours using Zoom, and my mother and sister would go around, and for school groups or schools that wanted to participate, usually there'd be about 40 students on a Zoom, and it would take about 45 minutes, which is the normal time for a tour. And they would use a gyro to hold the camera and go around our farm, where we're fortunate to have enough broadband access, which is really scarce in a lot of rural areas, but where we're located, we have that ability. And that was not necessarily a cost beneficial experience, but it was a good experience because it tested what we thought. And I think there's still a lot of opportunity because traditionally we only pull schools from a 1 hour radius. And I think that has the potential to go around the world if we could come up with a marketable product. And we're still examining what kind of deliverable we'd have with that. Back to the ice cream. So we started using Squared Up several years ago to do transactions on the farm. And with that, we were able to post what kind of quartz flavors we'd have. So anyway, we were able to sell that. And the first time we did it, we sold out in 45 minutes. And the second time we did it, we sold it out in 23 minutes. And actually we had negative feedback because people didn't have the flavors they wanted. So, we had to go through that a little bit. Anyway, since then we have opened up, we've opened up for ice cream sales, and what we've done is consolidated our hours, and though our gross receipts are down, we're able to pack people in and be a lot more efficient with the labor and the people that we do have. We're not doing milkshakes and we're not doing like banana splits. So it's pretty simple stuff. There's no seating, so we don't have the bathrooms open, and we comply with the health department, one way in, one way out. Mask, not a problem. People are generally really courteous. When they come to our farm, it's always positive feedback in terms of, I'm bringing my kids out here because I want to experience a little bit what life was like before COVID, because they can kind of come out here and, find enough space that maybe they can take their mask off and just have a little bit of laughter and sunshine and be able to walk around. So those are some, I think, opportunities. And for the most part, I think we are still trying to strategize what the fall is going to be like. But as Don has said, the commodity prices are killing us. In terms of milk price is 50% what it was or even hoped to be in January, and so that's been pretty rough. This fall is really going to decide, I guess, the trajectory for our business, whether we can regain some school tours or try to create some kind of business around that, and then what does our pumpkin fall harvest look like. And we're toying with ideas of how restaurants operated. I think in the past, restaurants, you could just go and sit and kind of consume the table, and it'd almost be rude for the host to be like, all right, hey, you got to get out of here. But now there's really kind of seating times, right? If you come at 5, you got to be out by 7:30, and 7:30, you got to be done by 9. They got to go home, and that's the end of the shift. So can we have people come to the farm with almost a capacity limit, right? And you're scheduled using technology to be there for 45 minutes or an hour and a half, and what does that look like? So just trying to be respectful of our whole community and still provide a resource for them. So happy to answer more questions at the end. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Tom. I know my family's consumption of ice cream has increased during this this COVID situation. I think it's like the common unifier. So next we have Rachel Roberts from the American Mushroom Institute. Hi, Rachel. You're muted, Rachel. You're on mute. I think you have to unmute yourself.
Yep, it just wouldn't respond. Hi, everybody. Thanks a lot for having me on, and just listening to the introductions already is just, it's heavy stuff, and I'm so glad that, as far as this panel goes, we really are all in it together, as they've been saying. American Mushroom Institute. So I'm the president of American Mushroom Institute, and we are a national voluntary trade association representing commercial mushroom growers, but also shippers, haulers, packers, and we have business members as well as part of this association. Like the others said, COVID hit and everything changed overnight. One thing, if you aren't familiar with how mushrooms are grown, is that they are grown in the soil that we create, the compost. So similar to some greenhouses and horticulture practices, mushroom growers first have to create compost. And the compost can be made of a number of things, from straw hay to corn fodder, chicken manure, stable bedding, cottonseed meal, coca hulls, out west, almond hulls, you name it, go into creating compost. And those lifelines, such as from farms like the Cairns, are part of what's been impacted. And so the uncertainty with the mushroom industry is on how do we even grow, but then also all of the haulers and shippers and the retail and the food service who normally accept mushrooms. In mid-March, when the stay-home orders were first announced and there were food service closures, some farms saw a 90% decline immediately in mushroom orders. We have gotten back to kind of a new normal of food service being down by 50%, so meaning the growers who supply to food service down by 50%. And then overall, retailers and food service, so growers who sell into both, down by 20%. Then in May, we found ourselves writing a press release about the shortage of mushrooms, because mushrooms can grow on a 6 to 12 week cycle. So when everybody pulled back in March to respond and react and keep the workers safe and figure this out, a lot of houses weren't filled. And so there ended up being a shortage of mushrooms with everybody staying home and cooking. And now folks are just kind of figuring out what the actual demand will be. And now that this is long-term, how much protective equipment they need to buy and invest in. So in Chester County, there are about 58 mushroom farms, and that represents approximately 1,895 mushroom houses. So, this is where we are. We produce 58% of the entire country's mushrooms right here. If you include Berks County, that gets us up to 67%. And we employ in Pennsylvania about 8,600 workers. So, the impact is really important to us across the state, especially in Chester County. And, like everyone else, we're just trying to adjust to the new normal, and be happy to ask any or answer any questions anybody has to ask.
Thank you, Rachel. And now we are going to hear from Eric Yost from Suburban Brewery.
All right, did I do it right?
Got it.
You did it? Okay. Hey guys, thanks for having me. I don't know where to begin on this. It's been a roller coaster for our business. You all touched on some of the problems we're all facing, the ebbs and flows of the market and the farming and everything. My baby is obviously the restaurant in Eagleview, which I buy from Deb, a lot of eggs, and we strive on buying as much local stuff as we can. My whole philosophy was to always buy fresh, buy local, and try to keep it within the community. From our food to our beer, we have 24 tap lines that we do all Pennsylvania beer and all Pennsylvania spirits. I own a full liquor license. We could sell Grey Goose, we could sell Jack Daniels and whatever, but I chose to make a stand to sell Pennsylvania products for the last almost 4 years here in Eagleview. And then, so doing that, we kind of started doing, sorry, it's a little loud in here. I'm at the restaurant. I'm getting distracted by service going on. But, so I started like hanging out with brewers and stuff and starting to learn some of their stuff and whatnot. So we opened up the brewery 2 years ago and in hopes to start buying our local grains and local hops. We're just out of the hop farm, which is going to probably be one of the bigger ones coming up here in York County. So, my whole thing was to buy everything local as much as we could. And this thing hit, Rachel hit on it, production just kind of stopped. And this is the first time in years that I've stopped doing some of the beliefs that I believe in and buying local and stuff, that I couldn't get a local product to save. I couldn't get any product, to tell you the truth. I mean, I had a better chance of getting meat at Giant than I could from any of my purveyors. And then the market went bananas. I mean, a piece of pork shoulder, it's usually $1.89 or whatever, was up to $7 a pound at one point. We're buying ribs and stuff and just taking it on the nose on everything that we did. So we had to kind of try to figure out a whole nother concept and trying to keep us afloat. We're all adjusting. I came up with a concept, Suburban Island, that we're doing here. I'm in Eagleview tonight, where I feel like we're ostracized out to an island. We're forced, like everybody was, in quarantine, wish I could just go on some island and just kind of, live my life and get out of this, this mess we're in. So I was laying in bed, super depressed and saying, like, I just wish I was on an island. And I was like, you know what, maybe that's the answer. We'll build an island. And thankfully this concept's worked for us. And we got, we closed the streets outside and we have a lot of people outside. and, still trying to buy as much local stuff as we can when it's available. But right now it's kind of about margins. So I went against my will, and I have, Tito's vodka on, which I've never had any kind of outside Pennsylvania stuff. But for a while, we used to use Faber. That was a great local rail vodka, but they switched to sanitizer. Which was great for them. Hats off to those guys. They made a switch to sanitizer. I don't know if that's a permanent thing. They started going back, but they were selling bottles of vodka for $4, but they're selling bottles of sanitizer for $20. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, why sell vodka for $4 when you could sell sanitizer for $20 and have it everywhere, not just in the state stores? You have it at Crops, and you have it at Shady Maple or wherever. So we're seeing a lot of challenges. The governor's new restrictions on us it's a nightmare. We have 6 hours to respond to some of these decisions that he's made. Quite frankly, I feel like we've been singled out as an industry where other industries are not. I understand that Governor Wolf's trying the best to protect us and doing his job in that way, but to single out the restaurant industry when there's no factual stuff saying that, I don't know of anybody coming to Suburban restaurant, catching Corona and bringing it home to their family. I know it about going to the beach. I know it's about going to rallies there's evidence out there where I feel like we've been attacked. They gave everybody a speeding ticket when only a couple of people are speeding. And taking us down to 25% indoors is pretty much just a smack in your face. You might as well just made it 0. 25% including staff. So if we have 100% occupancy, we're allowed to have 25 people inside. Well, I have 5 cooks in the kitchen. Now we're at 20. I have 5 servers. We're at 15, plus a manager, plus the owner. Now we're at 12 people inside. It doesn't make sense. We're doing the best we can. I did a whole campaign, stand up, mask up, which I have one of our masks here, being if you're not at your table, you must stand, if you're standing, you mask up. And we're not anti-mask, we're not anything, but we're going to do our part to make people feel safe and comply. But it's at a cost. Gloves right now are $130 a case for gloves, for nitrile gloves. We got a PPP loan. It was great that we got that loan, but it's kind of fool's gold. 7 weeks in, they told us that we can extend it to October. Well, I'm like, I spent all the money already when we were closed. So this is the kind of stuff we're facing right now. Coming back to the food system, the grains that we get from the brewery and stuff like that, we try to do it full circle. We buy from a local farm. We brew our beer. We give to, all our grains right now are going to Pete Dempster over at Shellbark, Goat Cheese Farm in Honeybrook. And then he feeds us pigs, and hopefully we buy his pigs back. So it's kind of full circle, which is what we want to do, but it's getting tough. It's really getting tough for us restaurant guys. Our purveyors, when I can't get stuff locally, I have to use a purveyor. I don't use Cisco. I don't use US Foods. I use local guys. Silver, a local guy out of Philadelphia, or Driscoll out of New York. They're family-owned business, but those guys, they're still scared to purchase. So you go to order something, they don't have it in stock because they don't want to have it on hand, because if we shut back down, they can't sell it. I'm one of the thankful ones right now that, I'm very thankful for our business and how much we're doing at the restaurant, but Philadelphia is essentially closed. New York's pretty much closed. So these guys that have to keep stuff in stock, they're not going to keep it in stock. And it's as simple as I'll call and ask for a case of coconut milk or this or whatever, and they just don't bring it in because they're scared they're going to sit on it. And there's so many untolds that we don't know, and too many surprises, overnight announcements that tomorrow you're going to 25%. You got to do this by midnight at 12:01. You must be back to 25%. When we just booked, bridal showers and baby showers and funerals, there's been, it's a shame when people can't mourn a death and have a funeral luncheon at a restaurant. I got to call them back and say, hey, I know you were supposed to have 60 people here next month, but Governor Wolf just told us it's 25 again, and it's hard for us. So margins are low. This industry's in trouble, and hopefully we'll make it through. It's kind of where we're at for the restaurant business, and it's tough. It really is. We're thankful for what we have.
Well, thank you, Eric, and thank you everyone for sharing. Everyone has their challenges, but I think that you all have mostly the same challenges here. We're going to start with some of the questions that were submitted previously. So these, I think, are pretty much open to anyone on the panel. So I'll just start with the first one. What assistance or relief has your bank ag relationship manager provided during the pandemic?
I'll volunteer a little. I think what is a helpful answer. It was really interesting in applying for the PPP loan, and with the many members that we assisted in applying for the PPP loan, how very important those relationships were. And we were all able to compare notes about which banks were making it more difficult with their process and which were being just more helpful and willing to, trust basically the process. And so, for us here at AMI, the relationships with Farm Credit in particular, Fulton and BB&T, we were just sort of watching who was going to open up the PPP loan portal the first. And because our headquarters are actually in the old Farm Credit building, and they hold our mortgage, and we ended up going through them. But we saw it was interesting because a lot of the bigger banks were the ones who, assuming that they were going to get more applications, were more reticent to go ahead and start processing. So it was like where there was, scale, like huge scale, there was a lot slower process. So, having the local banks with the more local relationships across our industry anyway was key to how quickly people could get any attention, get an application processed, and get success with their loan.
Thank you, Rachel. Another question was, do you think Chester County can feed itself? I think we kind of touched on that a little bit during your introductions. Does anybody, Don, maybe, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. I look at our local agriculture as a little bit more regional than just county by county, but I look at southeastern Pennsylvania as the breadbasket of our whole region. And I don't know this exact statistics about Chester County versus the counties around us, but I would say we come pretty close to feeding ourselves, if not have an excess. Now, a lot of what we grow goes east, Delaware County, Philadelphia, obviously they can't feed themselves, but I would say if we're not feeding ourselves, we're pretty close to doing that.
Good. Another question, how are the farmers faring with the COVID federal assistance program? Are the payments being received effectively and timely? And I guess that would be for anybody that has, utilized that program.
Yeah, I'd be glad to address that if you'd like, because I also sit on the USDA Farm Service Agency County Committee. So I've been involved in that program, and I've also received it. And my understanding is that, yes, many farmers are signing up for that and receiving their payments. And I've been amazed at how quickly that's all happening. I know personally when I applied, I think I had, now you're not getting the full thing, but you're getting a percentage of it. I think I had that within 2 weeks.
Good.
For mushrooms, it's been a different story, as it is always with specialty crops. But in particular for mushrooms, because we don't grow by the acre, and the calculations of the COVID food assistance program are based on, in part on acreage in terms of the categories that mushrooms were allowed into. So there are 3 categories, and mushrooms were allowed into 2 of them, but in the calculations that we were given, it was based on acreage. Well, before the spawning or the seed mixture of mushrooms even gets put in a mushroom house, the mushroom farmer has already spent $20,000 to $25,000 in filling that house with the compost. And then the volume and the yield is in pounds. So you have, we do our calculations by square foot and pounds per square foot. So just the when the mushroom growers have been doing the CFAP, it's just very, literally pittances that come out in terms of that strict calculation for crops. And so we've been advocating, we've been talking till we're blue in the face to everybody we can about, hey, this isn't this doesn't apply to our crop. And at first USDA was and still is very understanding, and they said, all right, we'll just have them apply and submit the documentation that they can. But at the end of the day, they really need a process that is standardized. And so even though they want to help and they're willing to help, when there isn't one calculation that they've settled on for one crop, it just it makes that too difficult for them, and things just generally fall apart. So we continue to encourage our farmers to apply for CFAP in the hope that we can get into category 1, and in the hope that we can get some retroactive understanding and love for the way we grow our crops.
Thank you. Logan or Rachel, were there any questions that came in during the course of this that we want to address? It looks like we only have maybe a minute or 2.
Yeah, so there was one that came in, and it was for Deb Ellis, and it was asking, what was the year looking like so far? Are you down in percentage or are you up?
At this point, we're breaking even. We have 6 employees, and we've got chickens to feed. So the margins, we're just breaking even. Trying to keep afloat, trying to make the best product that we can, that we always have. We get lots and lots of accolades about how good the eggs are. So it takes a lot of work to do that, but we're breaking even at this point.
I guess I'd like to ask, what can chamber members and our associates do to help raise the awareness and the relevance of the ag industry in Chester County so that we can keep it our #1 industry?
I'll take that. I think several months ago there was a big push because you couldn't get certain things. Let's buy local, let's support our local farmers. And then I guess when it gets convenient, when they can go back to the grocery store and they can get the things that they need, we kind of disappear again. And we've always been here, and it takes a lot of work, but we love what we do. So I think just to support your local farmers. I've got this sticker that I've had forever. When I taught on the Ag Lab, I always held it up for my kids. I'm like, no farms, no food. And every time I see a farm go down, it makes me sad. So support your local farmers. There's many, many, many in Chester County. If you look at the Ag Development Council's booklet, there's 125 of us in there, and there's more than that. So seek us out and support your local farmers, because we're here, we've always been here, and we're going to be here in the future.
Yes. Is there anything else that any of the panelists would like to just say, as a wrap up before we finish?
I would just add to Deb's comment that in terms of, buying local and supporting local, to really plan that, because it is true that as people have gotten back to, work or have just, become consumed with adapting in terms of their kids being home all the time, to buy local, you really have to plan differently how to shop. And a lot of people are buying online, and it is convenient, but, I find that when I don't think about and plan how I'm going to do my grocery shopping, I default as well, and have been having conversations with my friends about, just you have to make a different plan when you're committed to buying locally.
It is. It's all about planning. Anybody else?
Here. I don't know if I could talk. Hello? Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, no. I agree. It takes a lot of planning. When we're doing our farm to table menu, it's like we look at, we don't sell asparagus till spring. We don't do strawberries till June. We don't, there's a lot of planning that you need to look at. It's a different style of living. We have the farmers market out front of us. They do a great job. When I was at White Dog back in the day, it was a whole learning experience, just writing menus along what's coming into season and predictions, and being able to change it if the crop slowed or went too fast. Cherries this year were in and out, or strawberries were short season or whatever. So kind of just planning planning the best you can to make it so you can, and it's supporting it's not supporting everything local. It's not just the farm, but also the restaurants that support the farms, so the farmers could, if you come here for brunch, you're going to eat Highspire eggs, like you're going to, and it's a trickle down effect. It's not, it's not just go directly to that farm to help it out. It goes beyond that, because it's, if you do it right, it's full circle. Like I was saying about our beer, we buy local grain, we make the beer, you come to my establishment, you drink our beer, it puts money in our pocket. It puts money in the guys growing the grains pocket, the guy growing the hops pocket, and then we take those spent grains, we give them to a pig farmer, and now the pig farmer is getting, some free food for their pigs, and then one day you're eating that pig. So it can go full circle if you just kind of just follow the flow, and follow the chain, food chain.
Great.
I would maybe just add that I'm thankful for all of our customers. For just the patience they have, and for just following the rules and helping it make a better experience for everybody. And I think some of the feedback we've had is sometimes we think the masks are a little silly and whatnot, but people definitely appreciate following those protocols and that level of safety. And when families come out, that's why they're coming to our businesses. I think for that safety, for that family time, and for just some trying to recreate memories. And I guess I would just, I think we all need to be creative about how and what we're going to do with our business. And it is going to change. And I think this is really a great opportunity to kind of come together. And, just hearing some of the mushroom things or some of the brewery things, I love it, because ideas are flowing. And I really want to say thank you to all the other panelists, because I learned something from you, and I hope you were all able to, maybe I was able to pass along something or spurred a new idea in your mind. So thank you for that.
Great. Thank you.
I
I think everyone can
believe-
come away definitely with an appreciation for everything that you do. And we, wish you all the luck. And again, we will all encourage everyone, to stay local and support our agriculture as much as we can, so that we can keep Chester County growing and thriving and getting through and moving on to the next step with this.
Hey, Alyssa, this is Josh. Can I just mention something real quick?
Yes.
It'll be very brief. And I just want to thank the panel. It's a pleasure just to listen to what's going on. And hopefully I, as a commissioner, a new one, I can be helpful. Deb, I already took what you said to heart, and I'm going to talk with my colleagues about finding ways to partner with Hillary and her team. Maybe we could do some stuff to promote getting that energy back into supporting some of our local farmers. So I'm going to go back to our team and see if there's something we can do on the government level to do that. And I really just wanted to let you know that I appreciate your comments and look forward to having some of your eggs.
Thank you.
Eric, I know I'm a downtown guy. I know some of the brewers out here. You probably some of your friends too. The restaurant industry has just been demolished. The pandemic's hurt the restaurant industry as much as anybody. We have a bipartisan call on Friday with our group here in Chester County. We're going to try to rally the troops in a bipartisan way to do legislation that specifically helps the restaurant industry. I know folks in that community don't want handouts. They want work. They want to open. They want to serve. They want to meet their customers and serve them. But this has really hit you guys hard. So we're going to try and rally the Republicans and Democrats in Chester County to support bills that have already been proposed and hopefully get as many as our great restaurants open again here as quickly as possible. So I just want to let you know that, and I can follow up with Donna and the team here and Alissa with the outcome of that. And maybe they can put a little pressure out there on the folks we're trying to get to vote the right way. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm listening, and please reach out if I can be helpful.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, Josh, very much. We appreciate that. And I think that's where we need to keep, our local and our state governments on point and make sure that they are aware of what's going on here. I know that there is on the website, the chesco.org website, where you can access the Chester County Farm Guide, and where they have listed all the farms in Chester County so that we can make sure that we support them. I want to thank Logan Hall for facilitating this event tonight, and Stephanie Shirk from Penn State Extension, and again, our sponsors, Farm Credit and the Right Agency. Thank you for all the panelists for being here tonight, for sharing your stories and how everything is affecting you. We wish you, of course, the best of luck and to keep thriving, that it will return, and that the community needs to stand behind everyone, and together we will stand and support each other and get through this. And lastly, please, visit our website, chestercounty.com, for information, everything that the chamber is doing and our events. And we encourage and we invite everyone, of course, to attend, whether you're a member or not, to attend our events. And we're doing a lot of online Zoom and community updates. So again, thank you everyone for your time this evening, and be well, stay safe.